Hey everybody, Mc.Moody here, and I just read on the internet that I can trade in all of my bananas for a free copy of Donkey Kong Country Returns. What do you mean the action has expired already? When? 2010. Okay, that explains a lot. Today we're going to be taking a look at Donkey Kong Country Returns, originally released for the Wii in 2010. Later on a 3DS version followed, and early this year we got a Switch HD version. So, is this a fun game? How does it compare to the original trilogy? And is it still worth playing in today's gaming landscape? And lastly, what about the Switch HD port itself? All questions we're going to be answering today. This is Donkey Kong Country Returns. A quick spoiler warning before we start. For my videos, I like to cover games from beginning to end. That includes the final boss and everything. That's just my style. So if you're still planning on playing this game for yourself and you don't want to get spoiled, maybe come back to this video after you're done. Right? With that being said, let's get started. After the development of Donkey Kong Country 3, Rare became one of the most important developers for Nintendo during the N64 era. But at the start of the GameCube era, they got bought by Microsoft to work on Xbox games. Dang it, Billy! Yeah, this was a sad day in Nintendo history indeed. After this point, Nintendo didn't really know what to do with the Big Ape either. They tried out some things, the Donkey Konga series, DK Jungle Beat, DK Jungle Climber and King of Swing, but nothing cohesive came out of this that really stuck around. But in 2008, Nintendo showed interest in a Donkey Kong Country revival, probably in response to the success of the new Super Mario Bros. Games. And they chose the Texas-based studio Retro Studios to develop this game. These guys are responsible for the Metroid Prime series. 3 amazing games that are almost a perfect blend of elements that made the 2D Metroid games fun and new 3D world exploration and first-person shooting mechanics. I'm a huge Metroid fan. I just can't wait to talk about these games for this channel. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. The point is that this studio has a lot of talent, and they have secretly become one of Nintendo's best assets. Whenever they are working on a project, it is something to look out for. Apparently, Retro Studios showed interest in working on a Donkey Kong game all the way back in 2004, after the release of Metroid Prime 2. A very strange choice for sure, because these games are basically polar opposites of each other. But yeah, it's fantastic to see that they finally got a chance to do this. And I can say right now that they totally nailed it. They made a really fun 2D platformer, and they really got the vibe down and everything. This game feels like a spiritual successor to the very first Donkey Kong Country game, ignoring most of the changes introduced in DKC 2 and 3. I have the feeling that this was an intentional design choice though that was picked by the higher-ups at Nintendo. But don't quote me on that is just a theory. They really made a new Super Mario Bros. For the Donkey Kong Country series. But if you're expecting a Donkey Kong Country 4, you might be a bit disappointed. A 3DS version was later released by Monster Games in 2013. Some new things were added, like extra hearts for Donkey and Diddy, some new helpful items, and 8 additional levels. But because of the 3DS hardware, there was an overall lower resolution, and the game ran at 30 frames per second, compared to 60 on the Wii version. So it did feel inferior in some ways. And then, earlier this year, in 2025, a HD Switch port was released by Forever Entertainment, which includes all of the new extras of the 3DS version, all with a nice new coat of some HD paint. All of that while running at 60 frames per second, giving us a true, definitive version of this amazing game. Yeah, I mean, I would have liked it if they added something brand new. Maybe some more additional levels? But maybe that is just too much to ask. This port has definitely gotten some hate from fans for some rather lazy implementations. And I kind of agree, to be honest. For instance, the loading times in the HD version are significantly longer than the original Wii version. That's a bit crazy. And some animations just don't look as good in HD. Yeah, I agree, these things are a bit embarrassing, but it's not as bad as Candy Kong singing about coconut cream pies or something, right?
My little love monkey.
You are tearing me apart!
These are just minor things when you're actually playing the game. Make no mistake, this is the definitive version of Donkey Kong Country Returns. It's just nothing more than that. With all that being said, let's dive into this game. The soundtrack was mainly composed by Kenji Yamamoto. It's good, it's really good. It really nails the vibe down and everything. But a lot of the pieces are remixes from DKC 1, and even though they are really good, I still would have liked some more original compositions in here. For the story, Donkey Kong's banana hoard has yet again been stolen. But this time not by the Kremlings. Yeah, they are nowhere to be seen in this game actually, but by these Tiki Mask creatures, known as the Tiki Tongue tribe. They are able to hypnotize all the creatures on the island to do their bidding. But Donkey Kong is immune to this for some reason. I guess you actually need brain cells to be hypnotized in the first place, do you? I really like the art style in this game a lot though. It's very cartoony and it fits Donkey Kong quite well. In any case, after beating the living shit out of this sticky fellow, the pair set out on a journey through 8 worlds to get their bananas back. The basic mechanics are similar to DKC1. Donkey Kong can still jump on enemies or roll into them, but in addition to this, DK can also pound the ground to break objects or stun enemies and such, or to uncover hidden goodies sometimes. You had to use motion controls in the original Wii version for this, and you still can if you really want to, if you use the Joy-Cons. But luckily in the HD version you don't have to if you use a Pro Controller or such. DK can also blow air when he ducks like this. Yeah, nobody likes this move, it's a complete pace killer, and it's mostly only needed to uncover hidden goodies and such. But it is sometimes useful against fire enemies though. There are also these green surfaces that DK can cling onto and get around. These are used quite often for some pretty interesting level design. If you find one of these barrels, Diddy Kong will join you. But unlike the older games, you can't switch between the Kongs anymore. Diddy will just stay on Donkey Kong's back, serving more as a power-up of sorts. He has his little jetpack and can give you a little bit of extra airtime, making platforming a bit easier. So yeah, no playing as Diddy Kong in this game. Unless you're playing the 2-player co-op mode, where player 2 takes control of Diddy Kong. Occasionally Rambi can be found inside one of these wooden crates. As you expect, he can just stampede through everything.
It's a stampede!
Yeah, it's awesome that he is back. Not sure if I'm a big fan of his redesign though, he just looks a bit slow in the head or something, I don't know what's going on here. Sadly though, Rambi is the only returning animal buddy, not counting Squawks, who can help you out in the form of an item. More on that later. So yeah, no Engard for underwater levels. Well, there are actually no underwater levels at all in this game. But yeah, also no Squitter the Spider, Radley the Rattlesnake. A bit disappointing. Well yeah, just like in the first game, grabbing one of these red balloons gets you an extra life. And so does collecting 100 bananas. That can be found all over the place. We can also find these banana coins, which is currency to buy helpful items. And these things are not rare, they can be found all over the place. This game really throws them your way. 4 letters that spell out Kong can also be found in every level. But unlike the older games, this time they really are a collectible that is needed if you want to fully complete this game. Getting all Kong letters in every level in a world opens up an additional challenge level in that world. But besides this, we also have these puzzle pieces, another optional collectible. Getting all of these in a level unlocks a piece of concept art and stuff like that. Well, that's nice, I guess. But just going for all of the collectibles in a level really changes the entire game. If you don't care about this stuff, you can just blast through this entire game quite quickly, I think. But if you do care, you have to drastically slow down your pace and search every nook and cranny for these things. The Kong letters are usually just in plain sight, but in tricky spots. But the puzzle pieces are quite well hidden and can be literally anywhere. Oh yeah, and a pro tip, always go to the left in the beginning of every level. I tell you, 60% of the time there will be a puzzle piece right there. And bonus rooms are back as well. They are well hidden and they can give you a puzzle piece, if you manage to collect everything within the time limit. Yeah, I'm not a fan of these. These are so boring compared to the DKC2 and 3 bonus levels. Unlike those games, there is no variety here. It's just the same challenge every single time. And even these layouts get reused all the time. They're also quite easy, I think. But if you do fail, you actually can't re-enter and try again, sadly. So that's a bit annoying. And after completing a level, you go back to the world map. This is very basic, but it does the job, I suppose. I just don't think this looks very pretty in the Switch HD version. With the added resolution, this just really looks like an old Wii game. Not pretty. But here we can find Cranky's shop, and Cranky has mellowed down a little bit and is not a complete prick anymore. He has a number of helpful items he can sell you for some banana coins, including the ones that were added in the 3DS version of this game. You can buy extra lives, or a DK barrel that you can use at any point during a level. There's also this potion that turns DK into gold and makes you invincible for a duration of time. And this blue potion does the same for the minecart stages. This key opens up additional levels, and yeah, Squawks is here. If you equip him for a level, he will let you know if there is a puzzle piece hidden nearby. Well, that's awesome. Very helpful. The most helpful thing though is this green balloon. This thing will save your ass if you miss a jump and fall down a bottomless pit. And I mean, you might need this because this game can get quite challenging sometimes. But the level design is overall really fun. They focused on the elements that worked in DKC1 and expanded on them massively, like the barrel blast and minecart levels. And there's just this incredible sense of energy in this game. Like at the start of every level, Donkey Kong will just jump in and pound his chest. I mean, that gets me hyped, man. The environments are very dynamic as well, and you interact with it all the time to find secrets for instance. And more often than not, DK will just destroy everything he touches. Just by accident, I suppose. Things like this really go a long way, I think. But yeah, as I said, this game can get pretty difficult sometimes. Old school difficult, I would say. So be prepared to get your ass kicked sometimes. But personally, I think it's a fair level of challenge that encourages you to keep trying again and again. And the game throws so many lives and banana coins at you anyway, so... The world teams themselves can feel a bit like your run-of-the-mill 2D Mario though. As in like, the first world is the jungle world, the second world is a beach world, etc. But the individual levels themselves can feel quite distinct and creative actually. So yeah, the first world is the jungle world. This world teaches you all that you need to know about this game, including some of the new mechanics like wall climbing and such. We also got our first minecart level here as well. And these are even more do or die than in the original trilogy, let me tell you. These are hard and an instant difficulty spike. But they are so much fun and dynamic as well that I don't care. Really one of the highlights of this game for me. And of course we have to talk about these silhouette levels. Because man, these look so stylish and gorgeous. With the setting sun in the background and everything. Some amazing jazz music to top it all off. The boss fights are pretty good, but nothing spectacular in my opinion. They are fun, but they won't require much more than waiting around a little bit for an opening to jump on them. And they usually change up their attack pattern slightly after being hit 3 times. But after each boss, it's payback time. The World 6 boss fight is probably my favorite. But it is a recolor of the first boss fight, so yeah. I would have liked it if these boss fights were a bit more frantic and action-packed, with attack patterns that are a bit more complex, just to suit the rest of the game. And then World 2 is the beach world. Yeah, these levels are just okay, I suppose. I like this one where this giant octopus is on the hunt for you. And this level where you have to hide to protect yourself against the incoming tide. Both of these levels bring a nice sense of tension with them. Oh yeah, and there's this level where you ride on the back of a whale. And the music is a remake of Aquatic Ambient. This is cool, but I like the original rendition of this song a bit more though. This is also where we get introduced to these rocket levels. These levels are just like the minecart levels, really hard, and really focused on do or die scenarios. But they are really fun and frantic as well, I think. It definitely takes a bit to get used to the clunky controls though, and yeah, they are a bit janky. But still, these levels are really fun, and just an instant highlight of this game to me. The Runes world takes it a bit more slow though, with some levels that mix some puzzle solving elements into the mix. This bird boss is pretty fun though. Don't know why he has so many explosives in this little pot over there. And what the... Is that a freaking nuke? Every single level in World 4 is either a minecart level or a rocket level. And yes, these are an instant difficulty spike, full of trial and error and do or die. But I just don't care because these levels are such a spectacle. I mean, look at all of this. And look at this big ass bat over here just blasting you with sonar laser beams. And whoa!
There's a bat!
And then World 5 takes it down a notch again. A lot of focus on wall climbing and some tricky platforming sections. All this against some beautiful scenic backgrounds with beautiful DKC1 remixes playing. Overall, a more relaxing time. Until this level with all the bugs chasing you. I mean, what are you doing, Donkey Kong? Run, 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 run! World 6 takes you through this prehistoric canyon, full of dinosaur skeletons, crumbling platforms, and lots of tar. Ew. It's actually a really cool looking world, and it has my favorite minecart level in this game. I mean, look at this craziness. And we get a full factory themed world after this. It starts off with this super stylish and foggy silhouette level, and hey! It's Mr. Game & Watch, look! After this, we get some super creative levels, with things like these robotic hands and such. And there is a really difficult rocket level. All of these moving parts always give me so much shit. There are also 3 levels where you need to find these switches to be able to reach the boss. But these are not that hard to find though. And the boss itself is a chicken. Well, I guess we do find out why the bad guys need the bananas in the first place. It's their life force in a way. Finally, World 8 is the typical lava world, and these levels will test you on every front. There is a Rambi level, a minecart level and a rocket level. Okay, in this level I got some problems with the HD port. Look at these fire snakes. That does not look right, does it? You can clearly see that this is a 2D image. Looks really ugly, to be honest. In the original Wii version, this fire effect was more blurred out because of the lower resolution. They should have reworked this sprite a bit better, I think. Well, anyway, after some more do-or-die platforming and bouncing off enemies, and this vertical rocket section that gives me flashbacks to Rocket Rush from DKC3. Screw that level. We finally reached Tiki Tong himself, the final boss. Yeah, I'm not really a fan of this final boss. I mean, this whole floating head with two hands thing has been done to death by many games before this. Think Andros from the Star Fox series, for instance. And the fight itself is pretty easy and generic as well. You just jump on his hands a few times and then jump on his head whenever he gives you a chance. It's not a bad fight, but just a bit anticlimactic, I think. And then, after this, Donkey Kong just smacks the entire freaking moon down to finish him off. Which game am I playing again? Oh yeah, Donkey Kong. So, the Tiki Tong tribe is no more, the day is saved, and it's raining bananas. Hallelujah! There is no secret ending or secret final boss fight to unlock, like in the older games. But there is a bonus world. To get there, we need to get all those Kong letters in every level. This will open up the temple level for a specific world, each granting us with one of these orbs when completing it. But these levels are no joke. They will test if you have mastered the platforming mechanics of this game to a T, and then they will still kick you in the balls repeatedly with no checkpoints to boot. Yeah, these are hands down the hardest levels in the game. Except for the last one in World 8. Is it just me, or is this level just a total cakewalk compared to the other ones? Getting all of the orbs opens up the Golden Banana Temple. And after tasting some of this golden banana pudding, the monkeys get warped to the cloud world. Can you get high off bananas? Never mind. Here we have 9 additional levels to beat. The first 8 are the levels that were added with the 3DS version of this game. Yeah, these levels are really fun. I actually played these levels for the first time for this video. Each level corresponds to a specific world, and they remix familiar elements from that world while adding some new elements as well. I really like the World 4 cave level, because it's a nice back and forth between minecart sections and intense platforming sections. If you are playing the original Wii version, you can only access the last level here, which takes place in this weird floating fruit land, and there are some enemies here that are not used in the rest of the game. This is just such a waste, I think, right? There is some tricky platforming here, but it's nothing compared to the temple levels. After beating this final level, you get a mirror. Well, with this you can play every level in the game in mirror mode, which is basically just playing the level in reverse. On top of that, you have reduced hearts and no access to health pickups or Diddy Kong, so it's essentially the hard mode of the game as well. There is also a time trial mode, if you're into this sort of thing, and I swear, to get some of these shiny gold medals, you have to be some kind of speedrunning god at this game, which I am definitely not. But if you do this for every level and clear every level in mirror mode, you can get a 200% save file. Is it worth it? No, but it's there. I mean, I really love this game, but this is going too far, even for me. But hey, if you collected all of those puzzle pieces along the way, you can get a ton of nice concept art. And these really cool looking diorama figurines. They look so pretty. So yeah, there you have it. Overall, a really fun 2D platformer with creative level design. But this game can be old school difficult sometimes. But it's the really fun kind of difficult, I think. I don't think this quite surpasses the original trilogy for the Super NES, in my opinion, but I think it can proudly stand alongside those games, as a Donkey Kong Country game that takes the series in a slightly different direction, but is still really fun, regardless. But yeah, this game is really good, it's a lot of fun. If you want to give this one a try, definitely go with the Switch HD version, I think that's the best one. Whether I can really recommend you buying this game kind of depends on the next game I want to cover, which is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So yeah, consider subscribing to the channel if you don't want to miss this review. And yeah, thanks for watching and hopefully see you on the next one.